Lee Tae-hyun wiped the sweat from his forehead as he guided his cargo ship through the asteroid field. The old vessel creaked and groaned with each course correction. He had been flying cargo runs for 3 years now, ever since humanity joined the galactic community. It was not glamorous work, but it paid the bills. His radio crackled to life. "Cargo vessel Blue Phoenix, this is Kepler Station. We are still waiting for our supply delivery." "Copy that, Kepler Station," Tae-hyun replied. "I'm about 6 hours out. Had to take the long route around the asteroid field." He was lying, of course. The truth was that he had overslept at the last station after too many drinks with other human pilots. They all shared the same complaints about working for alien corporations that treated humans like second-class citizens. As Tae-hyun navigated between 2 large asteroids, something caught his eye. A silver ship floated dead in space, its hull torn open in several places. Smoke drifted from the damaged sections. The design was unfamiliar, definitely not human. "Well, that doesn't look good," he muttered to himself. Standard procedure was to report derelict vessels to the nearest station and continue on his route. But something made him pause. The ship looked expensive, probably belonging to one of the major alien races. If there were survivors, rescuing them could mean a big reward. Tae-hyun changed course and moved closer to the damaged vessel. His scanners showed no life signs, but the readings were weak. The ship's systems were barely functioning. "Hello, damaged vessel," he broadcast on the standard emergency frequency. "This is cargo ship Blue Phoenix. Do you need assistance?" Only static answered him. Tae-hyun bit his lip. Getting involved could mean trouble, especially if this ship belonged to criminals or pirates. But he had learned in the military that you never left people behind if you could help it. He docked his ship to the damaged vessel's airlock. The connection was rough, but it held. Tae-hyun put on his emergency suit and grabbed his medical kit. As a former military engineer, he had basic medical training. The airlock cycled, and he stepped into the alien ship. Emergency lighting cast red shadows on the walls. The air was thin but breathable. Bodies lay scattered in the corridors, all of them clearly dead. Tae-hyun moved deeper into the ship, checking each room. In what looked like a passenger cabin, he found her. The alien woman was beautiful in a way that was almost human, but not quite. Her skin had a pale blue tint, and her hair was silver white. She wore elegant robes that were now stained with blue blood. Her breathing was shallow and weak. "Hey, can you hear me?" Tae-hyun knelt beside her and checked her pulse. It was fast and irregular. Her eyes opened slowly. They were a deep purple color, unlike anything Tae-hyun had ever seen. When she saw him, fear flashed across her face. "Please," she whispered in accented but clear English. "Help me. I'm going to get you out of here," Tae-hyun said. He examined her injuries. There was a deep cut on her side that was bleeding badly. Her left arm looked broken. But what worried him most was her pale color and weak breathing. Tae-hyun had no idea about alien biology, but bleeding was bleeding. He used his emergency bandages to stop the worst of it. Then he carefully lifted her and carried her back to his ship. In his small medical bay, Tae-hyun worked frantically. His human medical knowledge was limited, but he did his best. He set up an IV line and gave her fluids. He bandaged her wounds and made a splint for her arm. The woman drifted in and out of consciousness. During her lucid moments, she watched him work with amazement. "You are human," she said weakly. "Yes. My name is Lee Tae-hyun. What's yours?" "I am called Yuki," she replied. "You should not have rescued me. It is dangerous. Why? Who did this to your ship?" Before she could answer, Tae-hyun's sensors screamed a warning. 3 ships had appeared on his scanner, moving fast toward his position. Their design matched the weapon signatures he had seen on Yuki's damaged vessel. "Slavers," Yuki whispered, her face filled with terror. "They came back to make sure everyone was dead." Tae-hyun felt his blood run cold. Slavers were the worst kind of criminals in the galaxy. They captured people and sold them to illegal mining operations or worse. "Hold on," he told Yuki as he rushed to the cockpit. The slaver ships were closing in fast. Tae-hyun's cargo vessel was not built for fighting or running. It was slow and heavily loaded with supplies for Kepler Station. "Unknown vessel," a harsh voice came over the radio. "You are interfering with our salvage operation. Surrender now or be destroyed." Tae-hyun looked at his options. He could surrender and hope the slavers would be merciful, but he knew better. They would kill him and take Yuki back. He could try to fight, but his ship had no weapons. Then an idea struck him. "Computer," Dump half our cargo, he ordered. Warning, this will result in significant financial loss, the computer replied. Do it now. The cargo bay doors opened and crates of supplies scattered into space. Tae-hyun used the reduced weight to boost his engines beyond safe limits. The ship shot forward, but the slavers were still faster. Laser fire flashed past his cockpit. Tae-hyun flew between asteroids, using them as cover, but the slavers knew these rocks better than he did. One of the slaver ships moved to cut him off. Tae-hyun made a desperate decision. Instead of turning away, he aimed straight at the enemy vessel. What are you doing? Yuki had dragged herself to the cockpit doorway. Something stupid? Tae-hyun replied. At the last second, he fired his remaining cargo directly at the slaver ship. Crates of metal ore struck the enemy vessel's hull like massive bullets. The slaver ship's shields failed and it spun out of control into an asteroid. The other two ships hesitated, surprised by the unusual tactic. Tae-hyun used their confusion to escape into a dense part of the asteroid field, where the larger ships could not follow. Hours later, when they were safely away, Yuki looked at him with wonder. I have never seen anyone fight like that, she said, using cargo as weapons. Flying straight at an enemy ship, my people would call it madness. Sometimes madness works, Tae-hyun replied with a tired smile. You saved my life twice today, Yuki said softly. Once from my injuries and once from the slavers. I owe you a debt that can never be repaid. Tae-hyun looked at the strange, beautiful alien woman. He had no idea that rescuing her would change not just his life, but the fate of entire civilizations. Just tell me where you want to go, he said. I'll get you home safely. Yuki's expression became serious. Home is the Valerian Empire, but I must warn you, human. Once you enter our space, leaving may not be so simple. The Valerian homeworld was unlike anything Tae-hyun had ever seen. Crystal spires reached toward purple skies, and floating platforms carried graceful ships between the towers. The planet's 3 moons hung like jewels in the daylight sky. Beautiful, he whispered as his cargo ship approached the capital city. Yes, Yuki agreed from beside him. Her injuries were mostly healed now, thanks to his care and her own alien biology. This is Serenity, our greatest city. Royal guards met them at the landing platform. They were tall, elegant beings like Yuki, but they wore armor that seemed to be made of living metal. Their weapons looked more like works of art than tools of war. Princess Yuki, the guard captain said, bowing deeply. The queen has been sick with worry. We feared you were lost forever, princess. Tae-hyun felt his stomach drop. He had rescued alien royalty without knowing it. This could complicate things. I am safe, Captain Ito, Yuki replied. Thanks to this human Lee Tae-hyun. He saved my life when slavers destroyed my diplomatic ship. The guards looked at Tae-hyun with surprise. He was clearly just a cargo pilot, wearing simple work clothes and needing a shave. Not the kind of person who usually rescued princesses. The queen wishes to see you both immediately, Captain Ito said. They traveled through the city in a transport that floated silently above the streets. Tae-hyun saw Valerians going about their daily lives. They moved with natural grace, their clothes flowing like water. Everything here seemed perfect and peaceful. The royal palace was even more impressive than the city. Gardens filled with impossible flowers surrounded buildings that seemed to grow from the ground like living things. Water flowed upward in gravity-defying fountains. Inside the throne room, Queen Hana waited for them. The queen was an older version of Yuki, but where her daughter was gentle, the queen radiated power. Her silver hair was bound with a crown that pulsed with soft light. Her purple eyes missed nothing as they studied Tae-hyun. My daughter, the queen said, rising from her throne. When we lost contact with your ship, I feared the worst. Yuki ran to her mother and they embraced. Tae-hyun stood awkwardly to the side, not sure what he was supposed to do. Mother, this is Lee Tae-hyun, Yuki said. He found me dying in the wreckage and saved my life. The slavers came back to finish their work, but he fought them off using only a cargo ship. The queen's gaze fixed on Tae-hyun. He felt like she could see into his soul. Tell me exactly what happened, she commanded. Tae-hyun told the story simply, how he found the wrecked ship, treated Yuki's injuries with basic human medicine, and escaped the slavers using cargo as weapons. He left out nothing, even his initial plan to claim a reward. When he finished, the queen was quiet for a long moment. Show me the medical scans, she ordered. A court physician, an elderly Valerian with kind eyes, stepped forward. Your Majesty, I examined the princess when she arrived. Her injuries were severe. Internal bleeding, broken bones, severe trauma. By our medical standards, she should have died within hours. But she lived, the queen said. Yes, your majesty. The human used primitive techniques that somehow worked better than our advanced healing methods. He stopped the bleeding with simple pressure bandages. He gave her basic fluids that kept her organs functioning. Most importantly, he never gave up trying to save her. The queen turned back to Taehyun. You have done the impossible, human. You have saved the life of my daughter when our own medicine would have failed. I just did what anyone would do, Taehyun said. No, the queen replied firmly. You did what humans do. You refused to accept defeat. She stood and walked down from her throne to stand before him. Lee Taehyun of Earth, you have saved the life of Princess Yuki, heir to the Valerian throne. This creates a debt that cannot be ignored. I name you guardian of the royal blood, protector of the royal family, and honorary member of our court. The court erupted in surprised whispers. Taehyun looked at Yuki, who seemed as shocked as everyone else. Your Majesty, that's very generous, but I really should be getting back to my cargo runs, Taehyun said. The queen smiled, but it was not entirely warm. I am afraid that is impossible, Guardian Taehyun. The position of guardian of the royal blood is for life. You cannot leave. I'm sorry, what? Taehyun felt panic rising in his chest. You are now bound to serve the crown, the queen explained. It is the highest honor we can give to an outsider. You will live in the palace, receive the finest education, and want for nothing. But I don't want any of that, Taehyun protested. I just want to go home. The queen's expression hardened. The decision is made. Guards, please escort Guardian Taehyun to his new quarters. As the guards moved toward him, Yuki stepped forward. Mother, you cannot do this. He saved my life freely. He should be free to leave freely. My daughter, you do not understand the ways of court, the queen replied. This human has proven himself valuable beyond measure. We cannot let such a resource simply walk away. Taehyun realized he had made a terrible mistake. He had thought he was doing a good deed, but now he was trapped in an alien palace, probably forever. Your Majesty, he said desperately, I appreciate the honor, but humans value freedom above all else. Keeping me here against my will would be like putting a bird in a cage. Birds in cages are safe and well fed, the queen replied coldly. Birds in the wild often die young. The guards reached for his arms, but Yuki moved between them. Mother, please. If you keep him prisoner, you will destroy everything good about what he did. He saved me because he chose to help a stranger. Force him to stay and you make that choice meaningless. The queen considered her daughter's words. Very well. Guardian Taehyun, you are free to move about the palace and the city, but you may not leave our world. Perhaps in time you will come to appreciate the gift I have given you. That night, in his luxurious prison of a room, Taehyun stared out at the alien stars. A soft knock came at his door. Yuki entered carrying 2 cups of something that smelled like tea. I am sorry, she said. My mother means well, but she sees everything in terms of the Empire's needs. Why didn't you tell me you were a princess? Taehyun asked. Would it have changed anything? Would you have left me to die? Taehyun thought about it honestly. No, I guess not. That is why she will never let you go, Yuki said sadly. You represent something our people have lost. The willingness to do what is right without calculating the cost. There has to be a way out of this, Taehyun said. Yuki sat beside him and looked out at the stars. Perhaps, but first you will need to understand our people and our ways, and they will need to understand you. What do you mean? My mother is testing you, Lee Taehyun. She wants to see what humans are truly capable of. If you can prove your worth in ways she understands, you might earn your freedom. And if I can't? Yuki's hand found his in the darkness. Then I will spend my life making sure your cage is as comfortable as possible. Outside, the alien moons continued their dance across the purple sky, while in the palace below, a human wondered if saving a princess had been worth losing his freedom. 3 weeks had passed since Taehyun became a prisoner in the Valerian palace. The days blended together in a routine of lessons, meals, and walks through the crystal gardens. He was learning their language, their customs, and their history. But every night he stared at the stars and dreamed of flying among them again. This morning was different. Prince Woo-jin, Yuki's older brother, waited for him in the training courtyard. The prince was tall and strong, with the same silver hair as his family but cold gray eyes that held no warmth. Human, the prince said without greeting. My mother seems to think you are something special. I disagree. Taehyun had met the prince several times, but they had never spoken much. It was clear that Woo-jin saw him as a threat to the royal family's dignity. I never asked to be here, Your Highness. Taehyun replied carefully. No, but you are here. And since you claim the title of Guardian of the Royal Blood, you must prove you deserve it. Behind the prince stood Master Jang, the royal weapon master. He was an ancient Valerian with scars on his arms and a kind but serious face. What do you mean, prove it? Taehyun asked. Trial by combat, Prince Woojin announced. 3 fights against 3 of our warriors. If you win, you keep your title. If you lose, you admit you are not worthy to protect our family. Taehyun felt his heart sink. He had some military training, but nothing like what these alien warriors probably had. And if I'm not worthy? He asked. The prince smiled coldly. Then you become a simple servant instead of an honored guardian. Much more appropriate for a human. Master Jang stepped forward. The trials will be fair, human. You may choose your weapons and fighting style. But know that our warriors have trained their entire lives for combat. Taehyun looked around the courtyard. A small crowd had gathered to watch, including Queen Hana and Princess Yuki. The queen's face showed nothing, but Yuki looked worried. When did these trials take place? Taehyun asked. Now, Prince Woojin said. Unless you wish to surrender immediately. Taehyun squared his shoulders. He had learned that backing down from a challenge in Valerian culture was considered worse than losing. Fine. Let's get this over with. Master Jang led him to a weapons rack. There were swords, spears, staffs, and other weapons he didn't recognize. Taehyun picked up a sword that felt balanced in his hands. An interesting choice, Master Jang said. That is a practice blade, not a real weapon. I don't want to kill anyone, Taehyun replied. Just prove a point. The first warrior stepped into the fighting circle. He was young and confident, carrying twin curved blades. The fight began immediately. Taehyun quickly realized he was outmatched. The Valerian moved like water, his blades dancing in patterns that seemed impossible. Within minutes, Taehyun was on the ground with a blade at his throat. First trial to Warrior Kyo, Master Jang announced. The crowd murmured with satisfaction. This was what they had expected. The second warrior was older and more cautious. She carried a long spear and used it to keep Taehyun at distance. Every time he tried to get close, the spear tip found him. This fight lasted longer, but the result was the same. Second trial to Warrior Day, Master Jang called out. Taehyun sat on the ground, breathing hard and bleeding from several small cuts. Prince Woojin looked pleased. Shall we end this embarrassment here? The prince asked loudly. No, Taehyun said, getting to his feet. One more fight, Yuki stepped forward from the crowd. Brother, he has proven his courage. Perhaps that is enough. Courage without skill means nothing, Prince Woojin replied. Let him face the third trial and complete his humiliation. The third warrior was Master Yang himself. The old weapon master moved slowly to the center of the circle, carrying a simple wooden staff. You have heart, young human, he said quietly, but heart alone will not win this fight. Maybe not, Taehyun agreed. But I'm not giving up. This time, Taehyun didn't attack immediately. Instead, he watched and waited. Master Yang moved with incredible skill, but age had slowed him down slightly. More importantly, Taehyun noticed something about Valerian fighting style. It was beautiful and precise, but it followed patterns. Like a dance with set steps. The warriors had trained so long in the proper forms that they couldn't easily change them. When Master Jang attacked, Taehyun didn't try to match his technique. Instead, he threw dirt in the master's eyes and tackled him around the waist. They both crashed to the ground. The crowd gasped in shock. This was not how Valerian warriors fought. On the ground, Taehyun's military training was more useful. He managed to pin Master Jang and take his staff. Yield, Taehyun said, pointing the staff at the master's chest. Master Jang smiled and raised his hands. I yield to Guardian Taehyun. The courtyard fell silent. Prince Woojin's face was red with anger. That was not fighting, he shouted. That was cheating. I used the tools available to me, Taehyun replied, helping Master Jang to his feet. Sometimes that's what it takes to win. Queen Hana stepped into the circle. The trials are complete. Guardian Taehyun has proven his worth. By fighting dirty, Prince Woojin protested. By adapting, the queen corrected. He studied his opponents and found a way to victory despite being outmatched. That is exactly the kind of thinking a guardian needs. Master Jang brushed the dirt from his robes. Your Majesty, if I may speak. This human fought like no warrior I have ever faced. He broke every rule of combat, yet he defeated me fairly. Explain, the queen commanded. Our warriors train to fight other Valerians, Master Zhang said. We learn forms and techniques that work against opponents who think as we do. But this human thinks differently. He saw weaknesses in our style that we cannot see ourselves. Taehyun realized what the old master meant. You're all too perfect, he said. Your fighting is like art, but sometimes you need to get ugly to win. The queen nodded slowly. Interesting. And what else did you learn from these trials, Guardian? Taehyun thought carefully before answering. That strength isn't everything. That sometimes the best weapon is the one your enemy doesn't expect. And that winning dirty is better than losing clean if lives are at stake. Wisdom, the queen said. Master Zhang, I want you to train our guardian in our ways. And I want our warriors to learn from his ways. Prince Wu Jin looked disgusted. Mother, you cannot be serious. He is just a human cargo pilot. He is a human who saved your sister's life, the queen replied sharply. And he is a human who just taught us something about ourselves. Perhaps it is time we stopped looking down on other species and started learning from them. That evening, Taehyun sat in the garden with Yuki and Dr. Songnari, a human scientist who worked at the Valerian Academy. Dr. Song had been studying alien culture for years. You've caused quite a stir, Dr. Song told him. The court is buzzing with talk about human fighting methods. I just did what I had to do, Taehyun said. That's exactly the point, Yuki added. Valerians spend so much time perfecting our traditions that we sometimes forget to ask if those traditions still serve us. Dr. Song leaned forward. There might be a way out of this for you, Taehyun. I've been studying Valerian law. There's an old clause about guardians earning their freedom through exceptional service. What kind of service? Taehyun asked hopefully. Something that benefits the entire empire, Dr. Song explained. Something no Valerian could have accomplished alone. Taehyun looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, human colonies struggled under alien rule. Maybe there was a way to help his people and earn his freedom at the same time. What if I could show the queen that humans and Valerians working together could accomplish more than either could alone? He asked. Yuki smiled. Now you're thinking like a true guardian. The emergency alarm woke Taehyun from a deep sleep. Red lights flashed in his room as the palace's communication system crackled to life. All senior staff to the war room immediately, came the announcement. Priority Alpha alert. Taehyun had been at the palace for 2 months now. As guardian of the royal blood, he was apparently considered senior staff. He dressed quickly and ran through the crystal corridors. The war room was filled with Valerian military officers and government officials. Holographic displays showed star maps and battle reports. Queen Hana stood at the center, her face grim. Guardian Taehyun, she called when she saw him. Your people are under attack. The main display showed a 3-dimensional map of human space. Red markers indicated battle sites across dozens of worlds. Ships marked with the symbol of the Keith Dominion swarmed through human colonies like angry insects. The Keith launched a surprise attack 6 hours ago, reported General Kim Do-won, the Queen's military advisor. They hit 17 human colonies simultaneously. The human fleet is overwhelmed. Taehyun felt sick as he watched the tactical display. Names he recognized flashed past. New Beijing, Armstrong Station, the mining colonies in the Centauri system, places where he had delivered cargo, where he had friends. How bad is it? He asked. Very bad, admitted Admiral Kang's voice from the communication system. Taehyun recognized his former commanding officer from his military days. The Keth came with everything they had. Our defenses weren't prepared for an attack this size. What do the Keth want? Queen Hana asked. Human space, General Kim replied. Our intelligence suggests they need the raw materials from human mining worlds to fuel their own expansion. And they think humans will be easy prey, Admiral Kang added bitterly. They're right. We're outnumbered 10-1. Taehyun studied the battle reports. The Keth were winning because they fought with machine-like precision. Their ships moved in perfect formations, following battle plans calculated by advanced computers. It was beautiful and terrifying, Your Majesty, General Kim said carefully. The Keth have demanded that all other species remain neutral in this conflict. They claim it is a local matter, and if we interfere, the Queen asked. They threaten to expand their attack to include Valerian worlds. The room fell silent. Taehyun understood the politics now. The Valerians could help, but it would mean war with the Keth. And the Keth Dominion was one of the 3 major powers in the galaxy. So my people die while everyone else watches, Taehyun said quietly. I am sorry, Guardian, the Queen replied. But I cannot risk my entire empire for human colonies. Taehyun felt anger building in his chest. Then what good is being guardian of the royal blood if I can't protect anyone? Prince Woo-jin stepped forward. Perhaps this proves that humans are too weak to survive in the galaxy. Natural selection at work, brother, Princess Yuki snapped. How can you say such a thing? Because it's true, the prince replied coldly. The strong survive, the weak perish. That is the way of things. Taehyun looked at the tactical displays again. The Keth fought with overwhelming force and perfect coordination. But something bothered him about their attack patterns. General Kim, he said suddenly, can you show me the Keth battle formations in more detail? Why? The general asked suspiciously. Please. I might see something you missed. The queen nodded and the display zoomed in on individual battles. Taehyun studied them carefully. The Keth ships moved in geometric patterns, each formation flowing into the next with mathematical precision. They're too perfect, he said finally. What do you mean? Admiral Kang asked over the communication link. Look at how they fight. Every movement is calculated, every formation is precise. It's like watching a computer program. So? Prince Woo-jin said impatiently. Discipline wins battles. No, you don't understand, Taehyun insisted. They fight like computers because they are fighting like computers. Their battle algorithms can't adapt to chaos. He turned to face the queen. Your Majesty, what if there was a way to help humans without directly attacking the Keth? Something that wouldn't technically violate their neutrality demands? Explain, the queen said. Joint training exercises, Taehyun said quickly. Officially, we're just sharing tactical knowledge. But in reality, we create combined human-Valerian strike teams that can hit the Keth where they don't expect it. General Kim shook his head. Impossible. Human and Valerian forces use completely different tactics. It would take years to coordinate them properly. Not if you think like a human, Taehyun argued. We don't coordinate. We improvise. We hit them fast and hard and unpredictably. Use Valerian technology with human tactics on... That sounds insane, Prince Woo-jin said. Exactly, Taehyun replied. The Keth battle computers are designed to fight logical, predictable opponents. They can't handle chaos, Princess Yuki stepped forward. Mother, I volunteer to lead the Valerian forces in these exercises. Absolutely not, the queen said immediately. You are the heir to the throne, which means I should be the first to risk my life for our people, Yuki replied firmly. Besides, who else do you trust to work with Guardian Taehyun? The queen was quiet for a long moment, studying the battle reports. Finally, she spoke. Admiral Kang, what is your opinion of this plan? Honestly, Your Majesty, it's crazy enough that it might work. The Keth have been winning because they can predict what we'll do next. If we team up with the Valerians and fight completely unpredictably, it could save us, Taehyun finished. Queen Hana looked around the room at her advisors. Most of them looked skeptical, but she could see the desperation in Admiral Kang's voice. Very well, she decided. Captain Yoon Ji-hee, you will lead a small Valerian fleet in joint exercises with human forces. Princess Yuki will serve as diplomatic liaison. Guardian Taehyun will coordinate tactics, Your Majesty, General Kim protested. If the Keth discover what we're really doing, then we will claim it was unauthorized action by a rogue princess and her human guardian, the queen replied with a slight smile. Sometimes plausible deniability is more valuable than official approval. 3 days later, Taehyun stood on the bridge of a Valerian warship as it jumped into human space. The ship was beautiful and deadly, its crystal hull gleaming with energy weapons. Beside him, Princess Yuki watched the human fleet take formation. The human ships looked rough and practical compared to Valerian elegance, but they had something the enemy lacked. Are you ready for this? Yuki asked. No, Taehyun admitted. But that's what makes us human. We do impossible things because someone has to try. Captain Yoon Ji-hee, a stern but capable Valerian commander, approached them. Guardian, the combined fleet is ready. What are your orders? Taehyun looked at the tactical display showing Keth forces occupying New Beijing. The enemy fleet sat in perfect defensive formation, exactly where their computers said they should be. We're going to hit them with everything we have, he said, fast, hard, and completely insane. Think of it as chaos with a purpose. I like it already, Captain Yoon said with a predatory smile. As the combined fleet moved toward battle, Taehyun realized that win or lose, this was the moment that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. They were no longer alone. The Battle of New Beijing became legend across the galaxy in just 3 hours. Taehyun watched from the bridge as the combined human-Valerian fleet smashed into the Keth defensive line like a hammer hitting glass. The enemy had positioned themselves perfectly according to their battle computers, but perfection meant predictability. Human ships, scatter and attack from below, Taehyun commanded. Valerian ships hit their flanks with everything you have. Captain Yoon Ji-hai smiled as her ship's crystal cannons tore through Keth shields. Their computers didn't expect us to ignore our own safety like this. That's because sanity is overrated, Taehyun replied. The battle was unlike anything seen before. Human ships used ramming attacks and suicide runs that no logical computer would predict. Valerian ships provided precision fire support, while moving in patterns that made no tactical sense. Together, they created chaos that the Keth algorithms couldn't process. Within an hour, the Keth fleet was retreating. Within 2 hours, New Beijing was free. Within 3 hours, news of the victory was spreading across human space. But when they returned to the Valerian homeworld, Taehyun found Queen Hana waiting with a face like stone. "Congratulations on your victory, Guardian," she said coldly. "You have made both our species very famous." "Your Majesty?" Taehyun was confused by her tone. "The entire galaxy now knows that Valerians and humans can fight together successfully," the Queen continued. "The Keth are demanding explanations. Other species are asking for alliances. You have started something that cannot be stopped." Princess Yuki stepped forward. "Mother, we saved human lives. Surely that matters more than politics." "Politics keeps empires alive, my daughter," the Queen replied, "and now our empire faces choices I had hoped to avoid." Over the following weeks, delegations arrived from across the galaxy. Some came seeking alliances with the Human-Valerian Partnership. Others came with threats and demands. The balance of power that had kept peace for centuries was shifting. Taehyun found himself at the center of it all. As the architect of the new tactics, he was invited to every meeting and consulted on every decision. But he also felt the weight of responsibility growing heavier each day. One evening, as he walked through the Crystal Gardens, Queen Hana approached him alone. "You have been very quiet in our recent meetings." "Guardian," she observed. "I've been thinking, Your Majesty," Taehyun replied, "about what comes next. And what have you concluded?" Taehyun stopped walking and faced her. "That you planned this from the beginning." The Queen's expression didn't change, but something flickered in her purple eyes. "Explain your reasoning," she said. "You could have refused to help humans from the start," Taehyun said. "You could have kept me as a curiosity in your court and ignored the war completely, but you didn't. You sent your daughter with me to fight the Keth. Perhaps I was moved by compassion for your people." "No," Taehyun shook his head. "You're too smart for that. You saw an opportunity to change the galaxy's power structure, and you used me to do it." Queen Hana was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled, and for the first time since he had met her, it reached her eyes. "You are learning to think like a ruler, Guardian." "Yes, I planned this. Not the details, but the general shape of it." "Why?" Taehyun asked. "Because the old order is dying," the Queen replied. "The galaxy has been stable for too long. Stable systems become rigid, and rigid systems break when pressure is applied. I needed a catalyst for change, and I was your catalyst." "You were perfect for the role," the Queen agreed. "A human who could show my people that other species have value. A guardian who could prove that cooperation is stronger than domination." Taehyun felt a mixture of anger and admiration. "You manipulated me." "I gave you opportunities to be what you already were," the Queen corrected. "A protector, a innovator, a bridge between worlds. And now?" Queen Hana walked to a fountain where water flowed upward in impossible spirals. "Now you have a choice to make, Guardian. A real choice, not one forced upon you." She turned to face him, her expression serious. "I offer you the position of first consort to the crown, marriage to Princess Yuki, a voice in governing the empire, and the power to shape the future of human-Valerian relations." Taehyun felt his heart stop. "What?" "My daughter loves you," the Queen said simply. "And you love her, though you try to hide it. More importantly, you have proven that together, humans and Valerians can accomplish the impossible. But I'm not royalty. I'm just a cargo pilot. You are the man who saved my daughter, defeated our warriors, and changed the course of galactic history," the Queen replied. "I think that qualifies you for consideration. And if I refuse?" Then you go free, the Queen said. I will give you a ship and safe passage to human space. Your obligations as guardian will be considered fulfilled. Taehyun stared at her in shock. You're serious? You'll actually let me go? I told you this was a real choice, the Queen said. Choose to stay and help us build a new kind of empire. One where different species work together as equals. Choose to leave and return to your old life knowing you changed the galaxy. Why offer me this now? Because forcing you to stay would poison everything we've built, the Queen replied. True partnership requires free choice. If you stay because you want to, you will help us create something wonderful. If you stay because you must, you will eventually destroy us from within. Before Taehyun could respond, Princess Yuki appeared at the garden entrance. She had clearly been listening. Mother is right, Yuki said, walking toward them. I love you, Lee Taehyun. But I won't keep you in a cage, even a golden one. Yuki, Taehyun began. Choose freely, she interrupted. Stay because you want to build a future with me, or go because that future isn't what you want. Either way, you will have my blessing. Taehyun looked at the two women who had changed his life completely. The Queen brilliant and manipulative but ultimately fair. The princess kind and brave and willing to sacrifice her own happiness for his freedom. Then he thought about his old life. Flying cargo routes, being treated like a second-class citizen, watching other species look down on humanity. That life seemed very small now. I have a condition, he said finally. Name it, the Queen replied. This isn't just about humans and Valerians. If we're going to change the galaxy, we need to include everyone. Equal partnerships with all species, not just the powerful ones. Queen Hana smiled. Spoken like a true first consort. Do you accept the position? Taehyun looked at Yuki, who was trying not to cry. Only if the princess agrees to have me. Always, Yuki whispered, running into his arms. As they embraced, the Queen watched with satisfaction. Her gambit had worked perfectly. 6 months later, Taehyun stood before the assembled representatives of 50 species as Queen Hana performed the wedding ceremony. He wore Valerian formal robes that felt strange but not uncomfortable. Yuki was radiant in a gown that seemed to be made of captured starlight. Do you, Lee Taehyun of Earth, take Princess Yuki of Valeria as your wife and partner in all things? The Queen asked. I do, Taehyun replied, meaning every word. Do you, Princess Yuki of Valeria, take Lee Taehyun of Earth as your husband and equal in all things? I do, Yuki answered, her voice strong and clear. Then, by the power invested in me by the Crown and by the new Galactic Alliance, I pronounce you married. The celebration lasted 3 days. Representatives from dozens of worlds came to witness the union that symbolized a new era of cooperation. But late at night, when the guests had gone home, Taehyun and Yuki sat on their balcony looking at the stars. Do you ever regret it? Yuki asked quietly. Giving up your freedom to fly among the stars? Taehyun put his arm around her and pulled her close. I didn't give up my freedom. I found a new way to use it. And if you could go back and change things? If you could have just delivered your cargo that day and never found my ship? Taehyun considered the question seriously. Then some other human would have had to save you, and the galaxy would have missed out on the best partnership it's ever seen. Even though my mother manipulated you into this, your mother didn't manipulate me into loving you, Taehyun replied. That was entirely my own choice. Above them, the 3 moons of Valeria danced their eternal dance, while below them, 2 species that had once been strangers continued to build a future together. In the end, Taehyun thought the Queen had been right about one thing. Sometimes the best cages are the ones we choose for ourselves.